If you don't do this, the transformation will fail. Hello everyone, and welcome to what's now episode 3 of Chatting Transformation. I'm Barry, I'm a change and transformation specialist, and I've been working in change and transformation for the best part of the last 20 years, starting at the lower end of the job scale and working my way up to leading some big, large transformation and change activities. And I'm making this podcast so that I can pass on my knowledge, experience, opinions, things I've learned, nuggets of information, so that hopefully your change and transformation journey will be that little bit easier. Now, today what I'm going to talk about is how we construct our change and transformation initiative. I talked in episode 1 about the operating model and how every organisation has an operating model and what they're composed of, and how that understanding that operating model is key to then planning what your change and transformation journey is going to look like. Second episode, we talked about change and transformation, what it means, the difference potentially between the two, and how the industry approaches the two. And what I wanted to do today was start to bring that together by saying, right, you've got your operating model, you know you want to do transformation, you know why you want to do transformation, and then we start to think about how you put pen to paper and what that looks like. So there's going to be some pictures popping up on the screen, so you don't have to look at me for the entire podcast. But first of all, if you remember, we talked around the difference between business as usual and how with business as usual you have that performance on the vertical axis and the timeline on the horizontal axis, that way for the camera. And generally with business as usual, you kind of move along in a kind of steady state. Continuous improvement activities can help you to either maintain that steady state or even get a nice kind of little uptick going. But if you want to make step changes or make significant kind of up curves, then you need to be thinking about transformation activities. And that's what we're talking about here. So people have decided that they want to go and make that kind of big upwards curve and where they're at for planning their transformation journey. So first thing you need to think about is, to get that significant upward trend, there needs to be measurable improvements at the kind of strategic end of the organisation. So if you're sitting there thinking, I need to get that performance going, we measure the performance in certain ways. It might be products and services sold, it might be costs reduced, it might be net promoter score improvements. You turn around and you say, right, we want to improve on these things here. And what you're identifying is the measurable improvements, or what we call benefits in transformation world, that you want to achieve through your transformation journey. So you're starting to starting to identify your, as I said, measurable improvements, which do need to be measurable, because at the end of the day, it's going to be your proof that your transformation has been successful. If you do all this work and you do get what you want to see as the result is those benefits being realised. So they do need to be measurable. So think about how you currently, what KPIs you use, what metrics you use to measure the success of BAU, and think, how do you want to improve those, to what extent, and that's you start to identify your benefits. The next thing that you need to be thinking about is, okay, in order to deliver those benefits, we need new outcomes. And what outcomes is it's really the new ways of working that you want to introduce into your organisation. So currently you work in one way that produces these results, which is what you're seeing in BAU. In order to get these significant changes, you need to bring in new ways of working. So what are the new ways of working that are going to deliver your benefits, those measurable improvements? So there's a bit of planning there to look at it and think, right, if we do this in this new way and we operate in this way, is that going to give us our benefit? And so you really need to do this right to left planning of, these are the measure improvements we want, and therefore this is the new ways of working that we need to instill in the organisation. Look at case studies of how other organisations have done things, what competitors are doing. Look at other industries completely and see what's working for them. You can speak to consultants that specialise in your industry, or you can speak to consultants that specialise in benefits and outcomes to understand what are your options available to you. But you're starting now to go, right, this is the ultimate measure of improvement I want, therefore these are the new ways of working, these are the outcomes that I want to deliver on those benefits. In order to do that, you're going to have to deliver or build effectively a new capability. The capability is everything you need to start delivering or realising those outcomes. So if you're going to work in a new way, you're going to need to change the capabilities within your organisation. Now, this is where I like to link back to the operating model, because what I see as the capability is the new operating model that you've built. So remember, an operating model, if we're using our POTI description, is processes, organisation, tooling and information. And if we've managed to move to a target operating model or a new and improved operating model, I see that as the capability that is then going to allow you to work in these new ways, i.e. deliver the outcomes that you want, that will then deliver the measurable improvements or realise the measurable improvements as the benefits. So think of the capability for the context here as the new operating model, target operating model, much improved operating model, whatever you want to call it, but that is your new operating model. Now, you can't just kind of pile in and go, right, we're going to sort the operating model out in entirety. Normally you need to break it down. Remember, there's going to be things you need to be doing around process, there's going to be things you need to be doing around organisation, which is a people element of the operating model. There's going to be things around tooling, which could be bringing in new technology, it could be replacing technology, it could be getting rid of certain technologies, or it could be that you're doing a whole new set of products and services and therefore you need new processes, new people, new technology. It could be that you're properly cleansing the information and data that flows through your organisation as well. So the best way to do that then is to break the capability down into component parts, which is what we call outputs. And outputs are really effectively the component parts of the operating model. So in this case, if we're looking at the capability being a new operating model, outputs might be, okay, it's a set of changes that we're making to the process or to a certain group of processes, or it could be a people or organisation centric output around either hiring new talent or doing something to the workforce to make it ready for the new capability or the new operating model. It could be procuring and implementing a new software system to support this new way of working that you're going to do. It could be an information and data project that's looking at identifying, cleansing, really understanding the data information that's going to flow through your system, how you're going to utilise it, all of that kind of thing. And for the diagram here, I've got four outputs, which nicely lines up to process, organisation, tooling and information. But it might be that you turn around and do it slightly differently. You might say, right, project one is around a certain part of the business and output one is around a certain part of the business and it tackles the processes there, the people there, the tooling and the information, and you do it that way. So there's no right or wrong way, it's just quite nice and neat that for the diagram here I've got four outputs which link to one capability, and that's very similar to four elements of an operating model resulting in one operating model. But the best thing to do is design this for whatever works best for your business architecture and the change and transformation that you're trying to deliver. So you really need to think about how you're structuring all of this as you do that right to left planning of what your transformation activity needs to be. And then finally, even then when you've got your outputs, you need to probably break them down further depending on how significant they are into work streams. So this just gives you another level of detail that you can go to. So you might have a fairly small output that's broken down into maybe two separate work streams looking at two different types of processes. Or it could be something where, like I said with the other example, where you decide your output is going to be centered on a part of your business, and actually you're going to tackle processes, organisation, tooling and information, and therefore you might want a work stream on each one of those for that particular output. So again, whatever works best for your organisation or for your business is how to break this down, but it gives you a nice neat way of collecting it all together. So just to recap, benefits, the measurable improvements that we're looking here to make, which will ultimately improve organisational performance significantly. They are delivered, or they are realised through outcomes, which are new ways of working, which is your organisation operating in that new way, which delivers those benefits and the measurable improvements. In order to do that, you need to build a new capability. And for this example, we're talking about the target or improved operating model, which then allows your organisation to work in the new way, which then delivers the benefits. To deliver the capability, we break that down into outputs. And those outputs can be further broken down into work streams, depending on how significant and how large this change initiative is within your organisation. So that's how we do the right to left planning. That gives you a really good ability then to understand what you need, what resources you need, how much it's going to cost, what people you will need in order to deliver this, how big the effect is going to be on the business, all of that kind of good stuff. And it's really important to do this. You won't probably be able to do it to the absolute nth degree at that planning stage, and like all great plans, nothing survives first contact with the enemy, or in this case reality. So the plan will always be an element of being reworked at the time, but it is really worth doing this exercise. It's really going to help you with that argument for identifying the return on investment, all of that good stuff. And it's just a really good exercise to go through, to know that when you take the plunge and go for this transformation activity, that actually you've done your thinking around it. Just to line us up for the next episode, which is where I'm going to delve into more how do you then deliver this. Basically, where we're talking about work streams and outputs, those are what we would generally see as becoming projects. So in our example here, we've got 4 projects. Project 1 having 2 work streams with 1 output, project 2 the 4 work streams, and so on and so forth. That would be the remit of project managers, and I'll talk more about what a project is and how projects work going forwards. But ultimately, the project is there to deliver the output within a time, cost and performance or specification envelope, which is why it's a triangle, because it's nice and neat with the 3 points on it. The program and the remit of the program is pretty much everything on the screen. So it's everything from making sure that the projects get delivered, bringing the projects together, managing all of the interdependencies, because all the projects are going to be trying to do lots of different things at the same time and throw things into the program at the right time and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of coordination there to be done around outputs, bringing it together to ensure that it builds that capability that's required, and then making sure that capability is then utilised with new ways of working to ultimately deliver the benefits. And delivering the benefits is the final test of the program's success, and it is within the brief of the program to deliver the benefits. We'll talk way more about that in the next episode, but I just wanted to give that introduction to how we would generally build this. There are other models that exist, and we can talk in the future about agile ways of delivering and things like that, but for the vast majority of people that design and deliver big change programs, this is the model that they use. Apologies, just got cut off by the phone there. What I was just saying was that there are other models out there, and we'll go into those in the future, but for the vast majority of big change programs that you'll see, this is very much the model that will be in play. Thank you very much for listening to episode 3. Do continue looking for the future episodes as we bring them out. We'll talk more, as I said, about other methods. Next up, we'll talk about programs and projects and the roles within the delivering the model that we looked at today. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.